Imagine a world torn apart, a mosaic of squabbling kingdoms, ripe for the taking. Now picture a young boy, an orphan, with nothing to his name but a burning ambition. This isn't a fantasy novel. This is the real-life story of Chandragupta Maurya. It's the man who would unite India and build an empire that stretched from the mountains of Afghanistan to the Bay of Bengal. But how did a boy with no royal blood, no army, and no wealth pull off such an incredible feat? That's the mystery we're diving into today. The story goes that he was discovered by a brilliant, ruthless political strategist named Chanakya. Picture this: a young Chandragupta playing a game with his friends, acting as a king, dispensing justice with a wisdom far beyond his years. Chanakya saw the spark, the raw material of an emperor, and decided to mold him. Their first target: the mighty Nanda Empire, ruling from their opulent capital of Pataliputra. The Nandas were rich, powerful, but also arrogant and unpopular. Chandragupta and Chanakya didn't just march on the capital. No, that would be suicide. They were smarter. They started a guerrilla war, nibbling at the edges of the empire, winning over local populations and building their army piece by piece. Think of it like a startup taking on a corporate giant, using agility and strategy to outmaneuver brute force. While this was happening in the east, a storm was brewing in the west. Alexander the Great, the world's most feared conqueror, had just steamrolled his way into India. But his soldiers, tired and homesick, mutinied, forcing him to turn back. Alexander left a power vacuum, a collection of Greek-controlled territories run by his generals. For Chandragupta, this was not a threat. It was an opportunity. With the Nanda Empire weakened and the northwest in chaos, Chandragupta made his move. He first swept through the northwest, driving out the Greek garrisons and consolidating his power. He absorbed their military techniques, creating a formidable, multicultural army. Then, with a massive force behind him, he turned his sights back on Pataliputra. The final confrontation was epic, and by 322 BC, the Nanda dynasty was history. Chandragupta Maurya, the orphan boy, was now the emperor. But conquering is one thing, ruling is another. This is where the genius of Chanakya truly shines. Together, they created a blueprint for governance called the Arthashastra, one of the most remarkable political treatises ever written. It wasn't about ideals. It was a brutally practical guide to holding on to power. It covered everything: tax collection, espionage, foreign policy, law and order, even how to build a city. The Mauryan Empire wasn't just big, it was incredibly well organized. They built a vast network of roads, including the precursor to the Grand Trunk Road, connecting the far reaches of the empire. This wasn't just for trade. It was for moving armies and information quickly. They established a single currency, which supercharged the economy. Imagine the chaos of dozens of different coins suddenly being replaced by one unified system. It was revolutionary. They also had a spy network that would make modern intelligence agencies blush. Chanakya's agents were everywhere: merchants, artisans, courtesans, feeding information back to the capital. This wasn't just about crushing dissent. It was about understanding the needs and grievances of the people, preventing famines, and ensuring stability. It was a government that ran on data, 2,300 years ago. But Chandragupta's biggest challenge was yet to come. Seleucus I, Alexander the Great's most powerful general, who had inherited the eastern part of his empire, decided he wanted India back. In 305 BC, he crossed the Indus with a massive army, ready to reclaim what he believed was his. What followed wasn't a long, drawn-out war. It was a decisive Mauryan victory. Chandragupta didn't just defeat Seleucus. He outmaneuvered him completely. In the peace treaty that followed, Seleucus gave up a huge chunk of his territory, including modern-day Afghanistan and Baluchistan. In return, Chandragupta gave him 500 war elephants. Think about that trade: land, resources, and strategic frontiers in exchange for military hardware. It was a brilliant deal that secured his western border for generations. To seal the alliance, Seleucus even offered his daughter's hand in marriage to Chandragupta. So, here he is, the undisputed ruler of the largest empire India had ever seen. He has wealth, power, and a legacy that seems secure. What do you think he does next? Does he indulge in a life of luxury? Does he plan more conquests? No. He does something absolutely astonishing. Around the age of 42, at the height of his power, Chandragupta Maurya gave it all up. He abdicated the throne in favor of his son Bindusara, renounced all worldly possessions, and became a Jain monk. He traveled south to Shravanabelagola in modern-day Karnataka with his teacher Bhadrabahu, and there, according to Jain tradition, he ended his life by fasting to death, a ritual known as Salakana. Why? Why would the most powerful man in the subcontinent choose to walk away from it all? Was it spiritual enlightenment? Was it remorse for the bloodshed his conquests had caused? Was it a calculated political move to ensure a smooth succession? We can only speculate. But this final act is perhaps what makes him truly unique. It's a story not just of ambition and power, but also of renunciation and the search for a different kind of meaning. So, was Chandragupta Maurya the greatest? He united a fragmented land, built an administrative machine that was centuries ahead of its time, defeated the successors of Alexander the Great, and then, in an ultimate display of control, walked away from it all. His story proves that greatness isn't just about what you build. It's also about the choices you make when you have the power to do anything. He laid the foundation upon which his grandson, Ashoka the Great, would later build an empire of peace. A conqueror who became a monk. A king who became a seeker. That's a legacy that is more than just history. It's a timeless lesson in power, purpose, and the human spirit. What do you think?
Let me know in the comments below.
And if you enjoyed this journey back in time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our next video. Thanks for watching.